more deals than I ever even thought of. But they're going to tell a little bit about what they've been doing. And then the featured training this week will be on funding your deals. Most people, if you ask why they're not investing, it's fear, lack of knowledge, lack of time. But a big issue is they don't think they've got the money. Now, we're going to teach on different ways to fund your deals. There is a myth, Maisel, that says you don't need money to invest in real estate. You do need money, but it doesn't have to be your money. If you've got a good deal, there's a lot of wealthy people with money that would love to invest in your local deals if it's a good deal.
So it's that the other thing about Epic, it helps you make connections. Like I've met people that do roofing, plumbing, electrical work, those kind of connections, and that you can kind of give each other's deals. But like you said, there's these folks that have resources that said, "Hey, you know of a good deal. I'll invest with you and help you make money, and I'll be I guess maybe the more financial partner." But you've done that a lot. But how do you keep from getting taken advantage of, Steve?
Well, first of all, you've got to operate by the golden rule principle. We're not looking for people we can do something to. We're looking for people we can do something for. And in most cases, people that they may have a property that they need to get rid of. And on the other side, everybody is looking for a place to live. So when we can connect those two things together, it's very profitable. But going back to something you just said, Maisel, talking about the four currencies, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the four currencies, and those are money, time, knowledge, and relationship. Most people trade their time for money. And what we're trying to teach people is how to work on their knowledge via education and how to build relationships. And the investment in knowledge and relationship is a lot more profitable than spending all your time.
Well, I tell you what, I've enjoyed all my times. And when's the next meeting, Steve?
This coming Monday night, April the 8th at 6:30 at the Hamilton Place YMCA. No dues,
The
no fees.
YMCA. I was making the motions on the video. But if folks want to come to the YMCA, just go through the front lobby and say, "Hey, I'm looking for the Epic meeting." They'll direct them, right?
Absolutely. Everyone's welcome. Bring a friend. We'll make you feel welcome.
And there's no fees, no charges.
No fees, no dues.
And so just you come, you get information. It's technically free. My point, what reason I only say technically is if you want to go to the next level, well, then there's an education package you can buy that will teach you how to be that investor and that much smarter in making real estate transactions. But you don't have to do that. It's just those that want to go to the next level.
Exactly. Our local part consists of three legs. That is the community. That is helping others in this journey. The community, the education, and there's also an income opportunity. If someone's looking for a side hustle, you can make a significant income by promoting the education. Now, the education is not required, but as you said, if you want to do well, the problem is we don't know what we don't know. And there's a saying that goes like this, education without action is futile.
Hey, Jolene?
Yes.
Hey, I apologize. I just want to bring you onto the show right now and appreciate you calling in. The commercials are a little bit off here, so that's why we didn't quite have it there. But
Okay.
how's things going over in Virginia?
They're going pretty good. The weather's kind of up and down, but that's how it is this time of year.
Well, tell me, I got to ask, now you guys are big LSU fans. Tell me what you think about what happened with your LSU ladies, one, losing to Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
but then, giving us the Heisman, not coming out for the national anthem.
Yeah. Well, I know that the team that played after them, that neither one of them came out for the anthem either. So it seems like people are kind of picking on LSU. However, I think that they all should be there for the national anthem. And, the governor came out and said, he feels like all these colleges should make this a priority or they lose their scholarship. So I don't know that it was an intentional thing, but, I'm all for respecting that.
Well, you're an LSU fan. You're being very nice. I think it was intentional. She has won a national championship. This isn't her first rodeo. She knows time management. She's had to be out there before. They're not convincing me. I think Angel Reese and some of the players wanted to give a Heisman to the country. I do. That's just my opinion. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah,
but she's a sassy frass. You got to admit, remember the ring thing she did and the face thing.
Yeah.
She's got attitude out the yang, and I personally think too. When she sprain her ankle the first half of the second?
I believe it was the second half.
Okay, but I
could be wrong, but
I was wondering if she was maybe nursing an injury, and I'm trying to give them an out. Maybe she was feeling a little bit. They were concerned, and maybe they lost track of time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I wondered that too about the ankle thing. I was like, like she knows they're not going to make it. They're not going to win. So let's pretend.
Let's do the ooh ow ow.
Yeah.
It was 12.3 million watching. It's the highest visual of any time. And then the women's basketball. Did you know the women's is now up to $682 per ticket, almost $700 per ticket for the Final Four. Yeah.
What? My goodness. Well, that's pretty cool.
Now I might pay $500 to watch Caitlin Clark, but I don't. You get past $500, I'd have to have a talk with the wife.
Yeah, I'm sure. She's something else, isn't she? I've never seen anything like that.
Oh yeah, I'm telling that she can't miss. She can't make every shot, but when it counts, Caitlin Clark is she's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she is. She's so fun to watch, though. And there's no stopping her. Even they asked LSU coach what was her plan or strategy against Clark, and she said, "We don't have one. Basically, we can't stop her. There's nothing we can do."
Oh, hey, check this out. ESPN says it was the most watched basketball game, period, men or women, ever on ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, we like to watch it, but I had no idea so many other people were into it.
Well, let me ask you: do you think? Do you think this is my statement? Is I believe it's the perfect storm for Caitlin Clark because people are so sick of the transgender stuff thrown in their face. And women's sports has kind of been disrespected.
It has been.
And Riley Gaines and all them have gone through. So I think to see a lady dominate, I think they appreciate her. But I think it's like, hey, I want to send a message to the woke community that this is what women's sports should be reflective of. And so do you think, let me throw something else at you. You and I talk conspiracies or not what's here. Did you hear she's been offered $5 million by Ice Cube to play in that 3-on-3 league?
I have not heard that, but I think you said that the other day, and I'm like, what?
Well, it's up to $10 million. Another rapper said he'll match it. They'll pay her $10 million to play with the boys. And they said they will work with let her play in the WNBA and work it out to where she could play, for them too, kind of like Bo Jackson, played baseball, football, and so did Deion Sanders. They're saying, hey, we'll accommodate her schedule.
Really?
Can you imagine that? Her playing with boys or guys.
Yeah.
But is this a genuine offer?
That's for sure.
Do you think it's a genuine offer, or is she getting pulled into a trap?
I don't know. I even said, I might have said that to you that night, that, she's more impressive than any NBA person I've ever seen. She's, just so good. I've never with the guys. I mean, maybe Larry Bird, but I don't know. I think that she is just as good as any guy, but I know they play a lot different and a lot faster. But I don't know. She's a phenomenal, that's for sure.
Well, I tell you, I look forward to her future. But who's your pick in the Final Four? Do you have anyone you're picking?
I'm going with them. I'd like to see them. Now, my husband is, I think, in South Carolina. But
dang, Mike needs to get right with God. Tell him he already went down the LSU Primrose path.
Yeah.
Tell Mike he's got to just pray about this. But the interesting thing, Caitlin Clark always wanted to play for UConn. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
And Gino never called her or visited her one time.
Wow. Oh boy, she's regretting that.
Do you think right now Gino's going, bad move?
Yeah. I mean, she's just really brought attention to women's basketball.
Well, I tell you what.
For that team, I mean,
everybody
knows who she is now.
Yeah, Gino, I think for him to miss out on that, it's kind of like the two other instances. The high school coach that cut Michael Jordan in the sophomore year, because said he wasn't good enough. And then Bobby Knight that ran off Larry Bird from Indiana, and he ended up going to Indiana State.
Oh, yeah.
Those this has got to be right up there in that oopsie of I just messed up a dynasty opportunity.
For sure.
Because if she'd gone to UConn, now the thing is, I think if she'd gone to UConn, they probably would have done like Dean Smith did to Michael Jordan. Dean Smith's the only one that kept Michael Jordan under 20 points a game. Because he wouldn't let him be the superstar. Iowa let her be the superstar. I could see UConn making her one of many, and she might not have broke out to be what she is. So he probably did her a favor.
Maybe so, but I mean, she's been playing ever since she's a little tiny thing, so I can't imagine if they're recruiting and they're going out and looking that she would be overlooked. I mean, she really stands out.
Now, jumping quick topics, is Mike from Louisiana, or is he just an LSU fan?
Yeah, he's from Louisiana. He's from Monroe.
Well, I tell you, the state did a thing unanimously. They passed a bill to block control of the UN, the WHO, and the WEF, meaning that they can. They've taken down the Ukraine did not have their election, so now Zelensky is he's on borrowed time. They didn't have since he wasn't reelected. Some say he's a self-imposed dictator.
Right.
And
I saw something about that he's actually going to launch a coup or something because, there's people aren't real happy. I don't know really know what's going on over there. It's insane, but it needs to come to a head. It needs to be out. Everybody needs to know the truth. I think most people are smart enough to see what's going on, but you don't feel like you can do anything about it. And we all feel like, what happened to Speaker Johnson? I mean, he's not the same person he was when he became Speaker. Is he being blackmailed or what's going on with that?
Yeah, Tucker Carlson asked Marjorie Taylor Greene on his show the other night, do you believe Speaker Johnson's being blackmailed for him to do a 180? And she said, she goes, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I know.
So
that he seems so different now.
Well, you know, when he went in, his net worth was $273,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that he had a mortgage on his house, and they talked about his debt ratio. He was not a rich man.
Right.
If in 3 to 4 years he becomes a zillionaire like the rest of them, you're gonna know what happened. You know.
Yeah. You know, it seemed like, remember, he got a visit by Paul Ryan, and kind of seemed like ever since then he's kind of been different.
Yeah, Paul Ryan is not our friend.
No. No.
He runs Fox News now, but part of the Fox News hierarchy. But anyway, we'll skip it on to another topic. What did you think about the earthquake in New York?
In New York, I tell you what, there's a lot of things happening right now. It just seems like everything is just kind of converging at the same time. You know, we've got this eclipse coming. We have, you know, earthquakes. We have, you know, these locusts, supposed to have this swarm of locusts. You know, the heifers, I'm sure you know, you're up on that. You know, the sacrifice of the 10th heifer could come at any time.
Well, they've got 3 of the 4. They've got to be. They got to be completely unblemished, but they're looking for the 4th one.
Yeah, and you know, that is, I read earlier that's the reason that Israel was attacked, because they're, you know, they got everything going, everything set in place.
And there was one in Texas.
Right, Texas.
But they found a blemish on it, if I'm not mistaken. So, some people feel that's why Bill Gates and them are having such an attack on the beef industry. If they can get rid of all beef, then the heifer could not be, you know, if they can extinguish, who knows. The other 17 community, a theory is they said that the earthquake is nothing but blowing up dumps underneath, you know, the deep underground military complexes, and the child sex trafficking from New York on, because P. Diddy, they're saying he was worse than Epstein. Have you heard any of this stuff?
Yeah, I have been kind of, you know, hearing a little bit about that, and that he was, the Epstein of the music world, and that he's got tapes and he's got emails, he's got all kinds of things on people, you know, high end people. So, I mean, we already know who they are, but, you know, I don't know. We'll never find out, I'm sure.
Sometimes you got to wonder if it's just a distraction to get us off on a gold chase, and they talk about rabbit hole and all that. I'm trying not to make fun. I just don't want folks to think I've completely bought into that, because I think it's been a strategic distraction for now 4 years, and there's all these people, but you got 6 months. If in 6 months they don't prove the devolution, the military's in charge, I think it's going to be interesting. Can you hang on after the break?
Absolutely.
We'll be right back after the break with Jolene Carter from Virginia.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3.
Can you hear me, Jolene?
Yeah, I can.
You're my second call. Steve was before you.
Okay.
The commercial break didn't come on, so when you called in, it kicked him off.
Oh no!
Not your fault.
Oh no!
We've had problems, and so if you see on Rumble my first video, I had to stop it because I opened up my refrigerator and it made all my signs fall down. It was like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So I started the video that's live now is us talking, the second one, and that's the one I'll probably promote, even though I had some good stuff in the first one. But let's see. I was gonna bring up about the Israel treaty when we come back, and I'll play an opening thing with the 700 Club, and then we'll discuss. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay. Let me. I'm leaving you on. I'm just gonna get all these things queued back up.
Okay.
Because, like I said, they were in the first video, and I like them. That's really the talk of the day.
Okay, things are really tense. Oh my goodness, really tense.
They had an article on Chris Cuomo and it came off.
651 800 570 7651. 800 570 7651. That's 800 570 7651.
Today with some unfortunate news out of the White House. President Biden has issued a warning to Israel. Change some of your key policies in Gaza, or the U.S. may reevaluate its support. The president is also demanding an immediate ceasefire deal.
At the same time, Biden harshly criticized Israel for the airstrike that accidentally killed 7 aid workers, even though his own administration was responsible for a similar tragedy in the pullout from Afghanistan.
So, Jolene, I don't know if you could hear that, but the CBN is just reporting that, Biden pretty much is putting Israel on notice that they might not be having us as allies.
That's right. Iran is supposedly going to attack Israel, and we've made a deal with Iran. As long as they don't do anything to us, they're free to do it.
In the next 48 hours, there's
right.
Now that's the clock's ticking, so I guess it's the next 40 hours. There's going to be probably an attack on Israel. And
right.
biblical prophecy, is when everyone turns their back on Israel. Now, I know Americans like me and you are not turning our back on Israel, but our leader has.
Our leader has, right.
And of course, Biden's just a puppet. This is the thing I tried to explain earlier in my show. Trump is represented by nationalists. And Biden's he's backed by globalists.
Right.
And bottom line is America's is the jewel that they both want in their crown, because whoever controls America has the largest still economy, and we've got the largest military.
Right.
And so if MAGA wins, make America great again, like Reagan and others have said, as long as there's an America, the world is free. But if the globalists win, they get all of our power, but America isn't free, and we'll never have another election again.
No, absolutely won't. I mean, it's such a critical election. I don't know if people realize just how important this election is. It's, if Trump doesn't win, then we're done.
Well, there's people out there that say, "Oh, that's." But the interesting thing is you have people jumping off the bandwagon. One being The Rock, the actor.
Yeah.
He just came out and verbally said, "I can no longer endorse Joe Biden."
Right. I saw that today. I was surprised by that.
And I thought, wow. And then I was going to see if you heard this guy. This is a Democrat senator announcing leaving the Democratic Party after 40 years. See what you think of this.
Amen to this.
Thank you for coming today. 1984, I decided to register as a Democrat. I was a Christian, member of the Roman Catholic Church, and I was proud of that. And I was pro-life. 2016, I decided to run for the legislature. Christian, member of the Roman Catholic Church, pro-life, pro-union, pro-Second Amendment. Wanted to see how we could grow our state and reduce property taxes at the same time. All those things you talk door to door that you believe in. As a process we've gone through down here as senators, I've tried to stick with those principles. That has not changed for me. I asked the Democratic Party, Douglas County, to respect that I'm pro-life, that I'm a member of the Roman Catholic Church. And my beliefs are based on that. Douglas County Democrats, instead of respecting it, they decided to punish it. They said you cannot participate, you can't be a delegate. We're not going to share our party resources. I continue to vote pro-life. State Democratic Party decided to censure me.
So the interesting thing is he basically said, I switched parties. And basically saying it's on pro-life and the Second Amendment. I'll be honest, it's kind of refreshing to hear there was actually a Democrat for 40 years that was pro-life and was pro-Second Amendment, but they withdrew funding. They said either denounce those views or we're going to take your funding away.
Yeah. I was surprised too. Democrat that was pro-life. Now, I wasn't able to hear all of that. So are you talking about the senator from Nebraska?
Yes, the senator from Nebraska.
Right. And, Dan Bongino was talking about this the other day about, Nebraska's the way they do elections. They don't do the winner take all. So it would really it could affect the election. And with this switching over, then that gives them the majority. So they can send a bill and go to winner take all in that state. So I think you're just waiting for them to send the bill over to the governor. But, it was a big deal for him to flip over.
Well, another topic, quick change. You're a lady of faith, and we touched on it briefly. But what's your take on the solar eclipse coming on the 8th? I've got my glasses. Have you gotten your glasses yet?
I have not had time to go get my glasses, no.
I got my glasses on. These things are thick. I can't see a thing. I guess that's what they're for. But I got mine at Staples. They're giving them out free at a lot of vendors. And it's got the date 4/8/2024 on the outside. But I guess you're hearing all the because of 2017, the 7 cities named Salem. 2018, 2024, the city's named Nineveh. And where they cross is a place called Little Egypt. But there's also now a town that's been discovered named Rapture.
Right. I know.
So
I'm just,
what you thinking?
I mean, I don't know what to think. I know none of this is a coincidence for sure. And if you look at, Bible history and you read a lot of this kind of stuff, it's why it's just so interesting about what's going on right now in Israel and here and just it's just so many things. You just feel like something is majorly happening. Now I don't know if it's I feel like God is definitely a sign.
Now,
I don't know.
Now the 17 community, I know sometimes you're still in touch with that group. They believe on the 8th, we're going to have an EMT attack, intentional or unintentional, and that we're going to go through those 8 dark days that the QAnon board, and that we're going to see all these replays of supposed all the folks who have been executed, the doppelgangers, and all that down at Gitmo. If that doesn't happen, do you think this is finally the nail in the coffin for the Q theory?
So they're saying that they feel like that this is going to be kicking off the 10 days of darkness.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah, and all the videos.
I've heard them talk about it, but I didn't know that they were saying that it was starting that day.
The 8th, because it's going to be dark, the eclipse. and they're
Right.
telling everyone to have 10 days of supplies, and that the power grid's going to go out. White hats versus black hats, all that stuff, and
Yeah.
some of it's very intriguing. I mean, it's interesting, and some of it sounds very intelligent. Some of it sounds very stupid. So you just
I
kind of
know.
going, you know,
I know, but when you look at some of the states, they're closing schools and declaring state of emergency, calling in National Guard. Oklahoma's calling in bioweapons teams. Places in Texas are asking for extra blood. I mean, what is going on over an eclipse?
And Oregon just did a study at 4 hospitals with the FBI. What if we had a chemical biological warfare and they had to care for a mass population being exposed? A what if training event at 4 hospitals in Oregon with the FBI?
Really? Don't you think it's all just very strange? I mean, they say it's because all these people are traveling to see the eclipse, and so we just want to make. They didn't do that in 2017.
Well, I don't think but see, Trump was president in 2017 with Biden being president, and things looking a little freaky, and then him denouncing Israel right before the eclipse. You're going, woohoo.
Right. I know you. I am. It's like mind blowing. And you've heard of they're firing up CERN that day. You've heard of CERN.
Is those the rockets they're going to fire into the eclipse?
Well, that's something else. That's NASA. They're firing up some rockets and shooting it at the eclipse. And they're named after some satanic deity. And CERN is that thing in Switzerland, that Hadron Collider, where they're trying to find the God particle. I mean, all of this is taking place. What in the world do they know? What are they trying to do? Most people feel like if there is anything bad, that it would probably be our government behind it. Nobody trusts government, but I just feel like there is something with the Q community, like you said, I mean, there's things, that they've seen into the future. They've seen a glimpse of something and they're trying to stop it, or they, can't really stop it, but they can prolong it. Just all kinds of things, all kinds of theories.
William Barron, Barron's really a time traveler, the son.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
And so, you just kind of, I'm just saying, but the bottom line is if folks can just step back and try not to get too offended, try not to be a Democrat, a Republican, a Q person, whatever. What they've successfully done is put folks in camps: Patriots, Q people, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party. They don't want us united.
Well, no, that's part of the plan. Is to divide everyone. I mean, that's part of that. What's it called? Cloud-driven theology type thing. There's just all these steps that you take to destroy a society, and one of them is to divide everyone.
Yeah, and you go to Saul Alinsky, his book Rules for Radicals, and he dedicates to Satan. But you go in there and look at the steps, and one thing they say: if you want something done, create a problem, and then your solution will be accepted. But whatever. Hey, Jolene, thanks for calling in, and we'll talk to you next week. Jolene Carter from
Attention business owners. Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. We can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. That's 800-932-3721.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
I'm proud to be an American. This is the Patriot Pastor Maisel Duncan, and if you're looking for small projects like porches, patios, walkways, or even large projects like foundation work, Patriot Concrete is there for you. Cameron Lee, 423-215-6365. We've used Cameron for many projects at Appleton Baptist Church, and he and his team are awesome. That's 423-215-6365. These are all veterans that served our country. Let them serve you. Patriot Concrete is there for you.
Breaking news alert now. An earthquake shook the Northeast today, including New York City. Reports say the quake had a magnitude of 4.7, with residents reporting they felt rumbling across the eastern seaboard. The U.S. Geological Survey said the earthquake centered near Lebanon, New Jersey. The earthquake even shook the UN Security Council meeting. Take a listen.
Schools normally form a spine of protection for children, a place where children can seek humanitarian services and normality.
The New York Fire Department said there were no initial reports of damage. Governor Kathy Hochul released a statement saying her team is assessing impacts and will update the public throughout the day.
So there was an earthquake in New York, and it went all the way to New Jersey. And the interesting thing was they were talking about children's education at the UN and were stopped. Maybe God's trying to get their attention, saying, leave the children alone. Well, as I've been telling you guys, 12.3 million viewers. Caitlin Clark destroying LSU was the largest viewed collegiate basketball game of all time on ESPN, men or women. 12.3 million views. The average cost now of the Final Four tickets is up to $462, almost $700 a ticket. The highest ever for women's basketball, and it's more than the boys right now this year. So interesting stuff. Well, let's look at some news, see what you think.
Am I happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better.
All righty then.
The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. And I thought back then, when we talk about, hey, I'm in this position where I have some influence, and it's my job then. I felt like that then. It's my job now to exercise my influence and share with this is who I'm going to endorse. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no.
And that is interesting. The Rock has gone on record publicly on Fox and Friends he will not be endorsing Biden. So I think a lot of folks said that, and he shows some regret in endorsing Biden in 2020. And you can catch the article in the Gateway Pundit, but it says in a recent interview on Fox News, Will Cain, known as AKA Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, once an avid supporter of Joe Biden, has expressed regret over his 2020 endorsement and stated he will not be endorsing Biden for the upcoming 2024 election. Johnson, along with everyone who supported Joe Biden, is complicit in the destruction of the U.S. today under his leadership. Johnson has been a vocal critic for former President Donald Trump and was seen as a part of the broader Hollywood contingent that supported Democratic candidates. In 2020, Johnson posted a video on Instagram criticizing then President Donald Trump's response to the protest after Georgia Floyd death. So he demanded change in America and expressed solidarity that Black Lives Matter movement, which was responsible for the looting and destruction of cities. So anyway, he is now pulling back. The Rock is saying he can no longer support Biden. Here's some more news. See what you think.
A question about yesterday's call with President Xi. If President Biden is concerned enough about TikTok to bring it up on a call with the president of China, why is he and why is the vice president, why are they still making videos for TikTok?
That's coming out of the campaign, so I would refer you to the wait. That's I understand. It is the campaign's decision. I would refer you to the campaign. We have been very clear. We are not trying to ban TikTok. We're not trying to ban TikTok. We're talking about a divestment. It is a platform that we really need to take seriously here. We're talking about our national security.
Interesting.
And so we've talked about not banning, divesting, not banning, divesting. So we want to be very clear about that.
So they're backpedaling on their big talk on TikTok. Plus, they're using it for their campaigning. Interesting. Is anyone surprised that Joe Biden talks out of both sides of his mouth? I don't think so.
Dumb things. And I'll do dumb things again.
That was Joe Biden. Let's listen to him again.
I've done some dumb things. And I'll do dumb things again. And I've done some dumb things. And I'll do dumb things again. And I've done some dumb things. And I'll do dumb things again.
That was 1995, Joe Biden. A little more hair then.
All Americans.
Bill Clinton talking about the border. Boy, have the Democrats made a U-turn.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country.
Woohoo! That was 1995 when maybe 2 million, and that was like going shabammer. Biden has now almost 10 million illegals across the border. He's getting close to double digits. So you got the Democrats, and then, of course, like I said, you've got, this is Biden, and these are his own words.
Done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again. I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
Yeah, well, and I think we all know that. And one of the dumb things that he and his party's doing is right now at Harvard, they've got a 24/7 security team. And they are defending, you're not going to believe this, a 24-hour security team to protect anti-Israel apartheid wall, featuring quotes from famous terrorists. I kid you not. You remember all the Harvard anti-Semitism they were allowed? It was called free speech, blah, blah, blah. And then when people put up pictures of the hostages for prayer and support, and they were tearing them down and tearing down the banners. Well, it's like, you can't tear our stuff down, though. So they've got a 24/7 security team Harvard University's paying for to protect anti-Israel apartheid wall featuring famous quotes of terrorists who have said things against America and against Israel. And that is being protected 24/7 by Harvard's security. How about that? Well, Blaze Media, Peter Ducey sends Kirby into tailspin with the right question after Biden Israel ultimatum. They cannot be true. Everyone still is in shock that Biden has given an ultimatum to Israel. Pull out and cease and desist, or we will possibly not be your ally in future ventures. Very interesting. On top of that, there are reports that the CIA has developed possibly a coup plan to take over Netanyahu. Now, Gateway Pundit has reported back when Obama was president, he tried to interfere in the election when Netanyahu was reelected then, and they did some election interference. Is it any wonder a lot of these folks hate America? We've got these folks representing supposedly our best interests when it's nothing but their agendas. But anyway, here's another newsworthy statement. See what you think. Well, we're going to jump to this one.
You've heard of blood moons, but how does the upcoming total solar eclipse fit into end times prophecy? Does it fit in at all? Well, joining us to share their insights are Troy Anderson and Pastor Paul Begley. They're co-authors of the new book, Revelation 911. The book of Revelation intersects with today's headlines. Gentlemen, let's start with Pastor Paul. Pastor Paul, it seems like everyone in North America is interested in this total solar eclipse because the next one won't occur in North America for another 20 years. Is the appearance of this eclipse significant, prophetic, or just another naturally occurring celestial event?
Well, this time it's I believe, very prophetic, and a couple reasons. It's only the 8th total solar eclipse across America since 1776, but it's in a 7-year period. The fact that it goes over 7 cities called Nineveh and 1 called Jonah makes you wonder, is this our Nineveh moment, America, a time to reflect on where we stand on a lot of issues, our social issues especially? It seems as if we've, without question, got away from the Word of God and have laws to protect those. So I believe that we really are seeing, just like the Bible said, there'd be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. There'd be distress among nations and confusion. We see all of that happening right now, Gary. We really believe it is a prophetic moment.
Troy, what is the significance then of celestial events? How do they play into end times prophecy? I mean, we've heard about blood moons and now this solar eclipse. Tell us about that.
You know, the Bible says that God set the moon, stars, and the sun in the sky for signs and seasons. And so, you know, I recall this interview I did with Billy Graham back in 2013. He said when God sent the prophet Jonah to Nineveh to warn them of judgment, the king and the people repented, and he believed the same thing had happened again today, this time in America. Now we have this great North American eclipse coming up on April 8th, and the eclipse goes through a number of cities called Nineveh in America. It also forms this, if you compare it to the 2023 eclipse with the 2017, it forms the Hebrew letters Aleph and Tav, or Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end, the name of Jesus in the last chapter of Revelation. So I think God has sent us a signal like this to return back to God as Americans, and this is the message that Billy Graham had gave me back in 2013.
Paul, in chapter 5 of your book, you write about the Great Reset. Are we into the Great Reset right now? Is it coming? What is it? Why is it significant?
Well, it was created really by Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. He came out with it just as the pandemic began.
Now, if you guys don't know about what they call the Great Reset, let me quickly upgrade you. There was a thing called 2010 Lockstep by the Rockefellers. We're living through that 2010 Lockstep. Okay. Then they had the Agenda 2030. Okay. It was actually an Agenda 2020, but Donald Trump won election in 2016. So they bumped it back to Agenda 2030. Savvy? But they've called all these the Great Reset. In 2010, Lockstep with the Rockefellers, the original 2020 agenda that was the United Nations, and now it's the 2030. Have you noticed all the little things in California, the taking all the combustion engines, and you won't be allowed to sell a car unless it's an EV as of 2030. Okay, those used to say 2020. Those laws that were on the books, and they had to wait for a liberal president to be in. They didn't do it under Obama because things weren't ready yet, but they thought Hillary Clinton in 2016, she was supposed to finish the job. But then Trump gets in and pushes a lot of this back. So therefore, Biden's back in, and now he's pushing for the 2030 agendas. And if you remember in California, for instance, they had passed the law that said, and Gavin Newsom, and this was about 2 years ago, that all combustion engines will be illegal to be sold, okay, in 2030. There were trigger laws in Virginia, Michigan, and some other blue states that had already been passed as well in their state legislatures, saying that when and it was in their bill, when California passed theirs would take effect. That's plans, my friends. When you have multiple states with trigger laws saying once California gets their deal, then that will trigger our deal. Savvy? Are you with me? So when Youngstown was voted in as the governor in Virginia, and they flipped that state from blue to red, that scared the crap out of them because they're thinking, hey, what if he then puts a brake on these trigger laws that we had lined up with California, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and now Pennsylvania, they flip-flop. They're not as completely blue as Michigan and others. But to see Virginia flip tells me there's still a conscious group in this country. When given enough data and the opportunity, you can make differences. So I say that to go back to the Great Reset. And the COVID-19 was supposed to be part of the Great Reset. If you remember, one thing Donald Trump did, it was called Operation Warp Speed. He was trying to keep it within a 2-year limit. If Hillary Clinton got in, we were supposed to be in a 4-year lockdown. You can go look at the stuff. So Operation Lockstep by the Rockefellers in 2010, Agenda 2020 at the UN that then became Agenda 2030. When you go look at that, they were wanting global lockdown. When Bill Gates was asked in Davos, okay, at the end of one of their meetings, have they succeeded in their global quest for power? And his answer was no. He said 72% of those pesky Americans did not cooperate during the COVID shutdown. I'm proud to say I was one. Because, see, being a non-vaxxer, I did not shut down this church. I did not shut down the food pantry. I did not take any of their stinking shots, and I will not. Why? Because it's nothing but propaganda. When you go and stand in line, okay, and to get a shot, and it's nothing but a blank piece of paper, they won't tell you what's in the shot. Please, my friends, tell me you were not that naive. Your body. I use the Democrat slogan, excuse me, my body, my choice. They don't like it when you take their little slogan and use it in a proper text for one of their situations. I'll quickly tell this story. My doctor I met with, and I said, Doc, do I need these shots? This is right when it all started. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, your ladies out in the lobby are trying to ask me if I want these shots. And I don't want one. I'm not comfortable. And he said this, nah, you really don't need them. He looked around like it's just me and him in the room, by the way. And he starts whispering. I said, well, what's the deal? He goes, let me tell you what's going to happen. And I want to know how he knew this. He goes, there's going to be 2 shots that come out. Then there'll be 3 boosters. If we go along as doctors with the first 2 shots, then we'll make our money off the 3 boosters. And I said, but Doc, you just told me I don't need the shots. Why are you guys pimping this like we have to have it? He goes, well, I got to live too. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What about your Hippocratic oath? A few months later, I get this letter in the mail addressed to all of his. He goes, I no longer can go along. Bottom line, but he goes, I'm going into early retirement. I've surrendered my practice to these doctors, and I hope, I wish you well. And I think it had something to do with our conversation, because I think deep down, there's a lot of medical people in their heart of hearts that know that was nothing but a sham and a scam they were part of. And I have to say, shame on you if you did it for the money. You put people's lives at risk to go along with this agenda, the Great Reset.
And said the world needed a World Economic Forum, needed a great reset. The world did. And they put in motion the big bank, central banking, world currency conversation. In other words, to try to drive the world to a one world government type scenario. This really matches biblical prophecy in Revelation chapter 13, when you eventually have this world leader, this deceiver, the Antichrist, with his false prophet sidekick. And they control the world by controlling the food and the water and the medical support. So, yes, I think what we have, we're on the brink of it. I actually think it's they're laying the tracks for it right now before the train comes down the track. We're watching every scenario to keep a close eye on it, but it is following the path of biblical prophecy.
Well, another factor in that, Troy, the book also talks about the green religion, and some people would call it climate activism, the green revolution. You talk about Gaia and population or depopulation. Tell us a little more about that.
Now, depopulation, let me throw this in. Bill Gates has an organization, you can go find it, called Depopulation of the Earth. John Kerry, the former senator and secretary of state, his daughter just recently made a statement in a speech that we need over 3 billion people to die immediately to save the planet. So these lip-lock liberals, and by the way, they don't mean them or their family. They mean me or you. See, we're expendable. Okay, now check this guy's out. He talks about depopulation.
Yes, so in Revelation 9:11, we explore a number of different things that have happened since the September 11th terrorist attacks that have completely transformed America and much of the world. And one of these things is this great push we see by the elite now for, to address climate change. And so they want to unify the world. They want to bring the world together. This is, the whole idea of recycling, driving electric vehicles, living in smaller houses. They're even talking about using insects as food to reduce our carbon imprint. And so it's sort of become this religion, this sort of this green religion that's replacing God as the creator of the world. And so this is the sort of the elite. The elites, the globalists, the religion, and they want us to all come together under this, but of course the Bible tells us that, when Jesus' disciples asked him for signs of the end times, the first thing he says, watch out that no one deceives you.
And that's true. Watch out that no one deceives you. And he also warns that there are wolves in sheep's clothing. Did you notice during the pandemic, more pastors were quoting Fauci than they were the Bible? And they were justifying not opening up their churches because Dr. Fauci. God didn't say shut down. That was our time to shine, my friend. That's one reason I didn't shut down. That was our time to be the salt and light to the community. If there was ever a time for the church to stand up and say, listen, it's going to be okay. There's a God in heaven. It was then. And it's still true today. In the toughest of times, Christian, that's not our time to stick our head in the sand. It's our time to stand up and say, listen, I may not have all the answers, but I know the God that does. We're to have some courage, my friend. Romans 1:16 says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ because it is the power, the dunamis, the same word for dynamite. It is the power of God unto salvation. It's a very challenging thing to become a follower of Christ. It's not an easy road, but it's a road we're all called to do. If you've been called and you know Christ, I was downloading up some food at one of the stores today that made a donation, And this young man wanted to help me. He was in the meat section because they gave us probably 600 pounds of meat today, this one particular store. And I appreciate his help. But he helped load that 600 plus pounds of meat, not to mention all the vegetables and all the other things. That store gave us close to 1,200 pounds of food today. And as you load that in, but he said, I just want you to know, Pastor, I'm Methodist. And I know some people think Methodists are bad. I said, I know. I said, a lot of our volunteers are Methodists. And he goes, and this is what he said. And I love this. He goes, you know, Pastor, people they don't need to get so committed to a religion. And I said, a relationship? He goes, yeah. It's a relationship with Jesus. I said, amen, my friend. And that gave me hope. That kid was probably 20, 21 years old. Okay. An average Joe Blow kid working in the meat department of one of our local stores saying Jesus is the only way to heaven. And it's not denominational driven. It's a relationship. I know sometimes we lose hope and we think, hey, all the kids are going to hell in a handbasket or we're losing them. And I'm sure we are some, but to see this kid be biblically sound in his faith and wanting to help a preacher load up the food. And it was his offer. And I said, man, what an inspiration for me. We all need some and get some at times from God or God's word. I want to remind you, there's a great, it's called A Prayer Guide for Our Nation, If My People. It's a prayer guide for our nation. It's put out by Countryman, Thomas Nelson Books, but it talks about prayer. Prayer is vital, and we need prayer. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 12:2. That's my verse for the day. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 10:12. And I encourage you, don't let your mind, it's a battle, man. It's a battle. You know, everybody wants your mind. You know, the media wants your mind. There's addictive things, gambling, pornography, who knows? There's behaviors that want to addict your mind. There's smoking, there's drugs, there's alcoholism. It all goes back to trying to get your mind addicted because that endorphin, the thing that makes you go shabam bam when whatever you're on or attracted to. When's the last time you've had that excitement experience for your relationship with God? You know, that's where we've got to have those passions to read his Bible, spend time with him, and embrace him if we're going to combat the addictions of the world, because that's all the devil does. He tries to supplant things in our minds, in our hearts, that will surplace or take us away from what God wants. We're about to have a call in with Moms for America, Marie Wagner. As you know, Marie and Jolene are regular contributors on my show. Moving into the new studio, we've not been able to have, we just got the phone hookup and the new line put in. So that was done yesterday or Wednesday, excuse me. And so I appreciate you guys being patient as we're working out all the kinks here, but we've got a blessing here. This is Street Level America that put this in, and I am very grateful to Dave and the gang. But Street Level America and Heartbeat USA has me now in 32 states, Canada, Mexico, in the District of Columbia, DC, believe it or not. And we've also got 16 to 17 different foreign countries that have responded to the show and have listened and has sent correspondence. So we're grateful. We've got some local stations interested in carrying the show. I used to be on 96.9 and 107.5 and 99.7, but the ownership there, they kind of, let's just bottom line way to say, they had to liquidate their assets and try to run something out of out of an apartment, and they had to cut all talk shows. But I'd already committed to Street Level USA and Heartbeat USA, so I'm fortunate. The others all lost their shows, but I'm blessed. We've got this is Maria Wagner from Moms for America. Maria, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Maisel. How are you?
Well, it seems like forever since I've had you and Jolene on the show, but they finally got it all working out.
Praise God. That is awesome.
Well, how's things going with Moms for America? Anything new we need to know?
Yeah, we just not we. I was at home, but our executive team was in Dallas, and we are announcing that we're shooting some episodes of our new show called The Mom View.
Ah, The Mom View.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be, discussing matters that, issues that matter to moms in like just a roundtable type of setting. And we'll be rolling that out in a few months. We recorded like 8 episodes.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
You didn't get to get on. Normally, you're the one that travels all over the place, and you've actually met Donald Trump and some other big names. In case someone's new, can you name us all the people that you've met?
Oh gosh, it's been a blessing. It's been Mike Lindell, Governor Nome, country singer John Rich, and we Moms for America Action. We were just blessed to announce our endorsement of President Trump this past November.
And you met Bobart and MTG, right?
Yes, I have. Love them both. I've met both of those ladies.
Well, I'm going to play a clip here, and I want to know if you've met this guy, okay?
Okay.
See can you hear it? Are you listening to the show where you're at?
Yes.
Okay.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
Do you know who that was? That was Joe Biden. Have you ever met Joe Biden?
Thankfully, no.
I was just curious because Joe Biden, doesn't seem to get a lot of, I guess, the accolades that Trump does from conservatives. He seems to always get it from I guess the liberal side, which it's normal. Liberals, support him. Conservatives support Trump. But is there a group like Moms for Liberty that represents the liberal side that's kind of your arch nemesis?
That's a good question. Nothing that's formally organized. I mean, there's always going to be the ones that attack.
Like you guys are Moms for America, which is nationalism. They're globalists. Is there like Moms for the Globe or something like that?
Not that I know of.
I may be giving them ideas, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Trump mocks Dementia Joe over his Trans Visibility Day. He says he declares the election will be Christian Visibility Day.
I saw that. I love that.
To me, Donald Trump's at another level intelligent wise. If people can see past his sarcasm sometimes, but I kind of like the sarcasm, but others see it as such a challenge.
I've always liked it. I think that the media obviously has such a loudspeaker that they like to twist that, and that's what I think drives it into the hearts of people that don't like him.
Yeah, and you just kind of go, man, do you understand? Now, here's the thing. I've got to ask you real quickly. You got Biden, who has said, I'm not going to replenish strategic oil reserves. Biden, who says, I'm not going to be a friend to Israel. And he's the border crisis is terrible. Is there anything Biden's done you think that they can brag about? Try to be fair. Is there anything Biden's done that they're going to be able to, at the campaign trail? I think they tried to forgive the student loan debt, but that's kind of backfired.
Yeah.
What do you think their angle is going to be? Because right here before the election to do this to Israel, to me, that's a suicide mission.
Gosh. I saw that. I don't know. That's a good question. What tricks will they have up their sleeve, or what anything positive? There's just nothing.
Well, my point is, since they have nothing, but he keeps making bad move after bad move, they're going to have to continue, because every attack on Trump to put him in jail before Super Tuesday failed, to get him off ballots has failed. some people have said the next step is to try to take him out. Do you fear for his safety?
I think for a long time. I know myself personally pray for his protection all the time. So I would say yes to that. I mean, heaven forbid. But yeah, I mean, that is how evil this movement is against him.
Well, I'm still amazed at how many people still try to follow him or act like he's doing something right. The other thing was him trying to get Ukraine into NATO to therefore give them supposedly the ability to draw allies to their defense. Do you think if we force them into NATO, that folks are going to go against Russia and China and Turkey, etc.?
Gosh, I don't know, honestly. If that's what Trump was trying to do?
No. Biden is trying to get the Ukraine into NATO, right? Because the Ukraine war is an abysmal failure. The Americans now poll do not want it funded anymore, but they've got Speaker Johnson doing a big 180.
Right.
And then you have World War III. Watch, China sends 30 planes and 9 vessels over around earthquake-stricken Taiwan in a major show of force. So I think what's happening is if China attacks Taiwan, and we're still tied up with Israel and issues, and we're tied up with the Ukraine issues. I'm afraid Taiwan, all we can do is give lip service. I don't think we've got a lot to give to them.
Yeah, what is left? I mean, we've done so much money laundering with the Ukraine, right?
Well, and then there's a good chance between now and the election. I mean, because the FBI's told us 5 times that we'll have conflict on American soil.
Right.
And I'm trying to paint a doomed picture, but I think a lot of people are concerned with Biden distancing from Israel, embracing Ukraine. He's kind of distancing Taiwan. And by the way, Trump has always said Taiwan was an independent country, and it made China mad. Biden just came out in the last 24 hours and said that Taiwan is not an independent country, and they fall under the umbrella of China.
Oh, boy. Of course he said that.
So we've got 2 polar opposite leaders, Biden from Trump. I got to ask you this. Do you think the election will be fair, or do you think they'll steal it again?
I think there's so much desperation on their side that I can't see why they wouldn't try to steal it again.
Well,
the
ballot votes, is there now in Pennsylvania? They just lost that ruling. All ballots have to have original signature.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe they took votes without signatures. I mean, doggone. I mean, give me 1,000 to fill out. It's like they probably had ballot parties like we have other parties. The libs, they probably said, hey, let's have pizza and have ballot. We'll fill out tons of ballots. And
I'm sure.
Because remember, they put those pizza boxes up and blocked the windows and wouldn't let conservatives view what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. You can only imagine what they were doing.
So, well, Moms for America, I'm bringing up all these controversial issues. You guys are trying to, especially mobilize women to be patriotic, to be, more mindful of issues and mobilize. Do you have any upcoming conferences or opportunities for folks to learn more?
Well, we definitely always have our ongoing live Zoom classes where we love to teach the love of country and the Constitution to our mamas. We don't have any events just yet because we were just busy doing this recording for our new show, but we are assembling some mamas in some battleground states to go door to door, and we're calling it the Moms for America Walkathon, and that's through our Moms for America action, where they're going to go door to door, knock on the doors, and get people to vote.
Well, I hope you guys do. Now, I'm going to shift real quick to a topic I covered a week ago, and it's this this transgenderism. that's it's been in our face for so long. And I think Caitlin Clark, I think this might be the perfect storm when she came into because she's just blowing out the records and etc. But transgenderism, they're saying now they've got robots. People might marry a robot because they want to call them transhumanoids. And then there's this other term, a kid, and this is a true story in 2019. He came home and told his parents he was trans, and they were saying, "Oh, so you want to change from a boy to a girl?" And they were going to support the surgery. He goes, "No, I want to be a trans," and I can't remember the term here. I'm trying to get to pull up, but it's transhumanism. That's what transhumanism, where you ask to be killed, and that in the hope that your spirit will indwell a computer.
Oh my gosh!
That's being taught in some schools.
Really?
Yeah. And here it's the conversation.
I heard the term. I just didn't really know
it's called the conversation. It says transgender, transhuman technology advances offer increased choices, but also creates new prejudices. But in 2019, a TV series, Years and Years, a young girl dissatisfied with her life. I'm sorry, I said the other way. Says to her parents she is trans. Her parents readily express their acceptance and support their daughter's supposed desire to have a sex change. But then she tells her that she is not transgender, but transhuman, and wishes to leave her physical body behind to become data. Her parents are shocked and then become furious that their child is being talked into basically wanting to die, if you will. She's been taught into thinking that her body will become part of data.
Wow, and that's what they're teaching now in some schools.
Yeah, and this is a TV series. It's 2019, Years and Years. Have you heard of it?
No, okay. I haven't heard of that one.
This I got on a one day I had some extra time, and I found this article. It's in The Conversation is the name of the magazine. Mm-hmm. It's an academic journalist fair, and The Conversation, and the topic is transgender, transhuman technological advances offer increased choices, but also create new prejudices. And it's left leaning, sounds like. Yeah. And basically, but transhuman, as Years and Years hint at technological progress, doesn't only offer gender identity. While prosthetics and implants for medical purposes have been around for years, the whole new range of elective body augmentations are becoming possible. And it's being called transhumanism, okay? Describing the evolution of the human race beyond its current state, particularly through the implantation of technology in the body. And this might be where they're wanting to put chips in the brain and stuff. Who knows?
Yeah. Just playing God.
But, I just think it's interesting. Well, let's shift topics to ask you. Everyone's talking about the eclipse coming up. What do you see it as a spiritual event? Do you think it's obviously a nature event, and God uses just like He used the wise men follow the star to say, "Hey, where is He born King of the Jews?" But as you know, the Q community sees this as the beginning of the 10 dark days, when all the tapes are going to be released, all the doppelgangers and the executions down at Gitmo, etc.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if it happens, it happens. But I think this is their last shot. I believe if this doesn't happen, I think the Q community is going to have to surrender that they've been snookered. Would you agree?
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what they believed that was going to happen during the eclipse. I mean, you hear so much of what people think is going to happen. I wasn't sure about the Q community.
Yeah, it was just some of the stuff people are sending me. Now, the sad thing for the Q community is they've got so many folks speaking on their behalf that have contradicted messages. It's just like pastors in the Christian community now. You've got some pastors that'll preach pro-gay, pro-trans relationships, and it's someone like me that says no, it's still considered a sin in the Bible. So, but I think the Q community has gotten so large, and it has some good aspects, some patriotism and all, but with the upcoming, do you buy into any of the biblical prophecies with it?
I find it fascinating, and I've been wanting or meaning to listen to, you know how much we enjoy Lance Wallnau, who is a wonderful Christian speaker who has his own show. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how that eclipse, what was it, 2017?
The Salem ones. Mm-hmm.
The Salem ones, and now you have the Nineveh, and they say where they intersect is a town called Rapture.
Well, yeah, and Little Egypt. And there's also a town now, they've only found one named Jonah. So there's one Jonah among 7 Ninevehs.
Wow.
Yeah, these guys are digging deep. And then there's actually, if you take it into Canada, there's an 8th Nineveh in Canada.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. But the X, I don't know if you saw the picture. You and I were talking about this privately, texting. The original Space Force logo. The X marks right there with the X, the 2017 and 2024 eclipse. That X where you call Rapture and Little Egypt on the American map is the same thing. But if you go look at Space Force, they tried to put a rocket or something in front of that. Have you noticed that? If you look at some of the Space Force logos now?
Yeah.
Okay, but the original one that I posted on my Facebook has the X, these missiles or skyrocket, and they cross over where you would call Rapture or whatever. And I think folks are saying, hey, the Q people now, Trump, introduced us to Space Force. And if you look at that original logo and with the upcoming Rapture, they believe this is Trump's, this is going to be his thing.
Well, because he is the one who developed SpaceX
or Space Force. What they don't realize, he can't come in 2016 and say, "Wow, let's create Space Force." That had to be in motion for years.
Okay,
don't you think?
You would think so. And now I looked up your post here to see that original photo. That is something.
That's the original Space Force logo. Then they try to put missiles in front of it, and then they try to have one that just has one spaceship going, but they're trying hard. So if that's the original one, and Trump was in 2016, and the first eclipse was 2017, and then I played a clip a couple of days ago where in 2017, this guy, a local weatherman, predicted how in 2024 they were going to intersect, and he said, not Rapture, he called it the original name of, but he actually showed a map of how they're going to cross, and I'm thinking, wow, so if a weatherman figured that out and said he knew that, there's people out there and astrologists that know these things.
Huh.
So do you think there's a chance that they might manipulate this for something nefarious, good or bad?
Oh gosh, a lot of it is so overwhelming because you just don't know what to think, and don't you think there's a lot of fear mongering around it right now with states calling state of emergency?
Well, you got that, and you've got the training up in Colorado. I think it was the FBI worked with 4 hospitals. What if we had a breakout of biowarfare? How would the hospitals treat the masses?
Oh, really? They did a training?
They did
a drill?
A what if? Yeah, this was 2 weeks ago. The FBI did a what if. You've got, this 8 thing's got a lot of folks on edge. And rightfully so. I mean, you got an election just around the corner. It would be the perfect storm for nefarious people to shut down our country and suspend the election.
Yeah.
If they could do something this scares. But I think Americans a little wiser than they were with COVID. It would have to be a little bit sharper than what they did. Because like Dr. Fauci has lost all credibility.
Well, and you wouldn't put it past them to try anything just because of the desperation and how many things they've been trying to stop Trump from running. So
but
you don't want to be fearful all the time, but you have to be on your guard to expect certain things, right?
Well, my point is they don't have a spokesman that the world, I think, would respect. Fauci, prior to that, had respect. And then, not only did people lose respect, Dr. Burke wrote her book and threw him under the bus. And and she said, hey, it came from China in a box. It was a hoax. So for Dr. Burke, the scarf lady that stood with him to throw him under the bus, he lost all credibility. And so they don't have that medical. So the guy from the World Health Organization, the guy with the glasses, and I think Klaus Schwab has lost credibility. I think the Gates, but I'll tell you who's gained credibility. That's not a politician. And I'll see what you think. Elon Musk.
He sure has.
And think about it. He calls his organization SpaceX. He now calls Twitter X. And these things are making an X in America. And Space Force under Trump may help do the logo. I'm just saying, what if Elon and Trump have something? I'm playing both sides. You see what I'm doing?
Wow.
But I can see where the Q people are getting jacked up.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a ride. But when it's all said and done, if nothing changes, I think we're all gonna say, just like Y2K. Remember Y2K?
Yeah, I know.
Did you and Mark do something crazy during Y2K? Have extra food and sit at home?
No, but I was an IT recruiter back then, so I was the one who hired all the Y2K experts to help our clients get prepared for that day that nothing happened.
Well, we did. We sat at home.
Those guys made a lot of money, and so did we.
Oh man, we got extra food just in case, some medical, and we're sitting at home, and it blew over. So, but hey, people right now may say, "Hey, you wait and see, Maisel, after the 8th, you're gonna regret that." I'm going, "No, I won't," because if something happens, I'll be, hey, if Q comes out to be true, and if there really is a group of White House generals that have cleansed America of corruption politically, I'll be the first to stand up and applaud it.
Oh yeah.
But I just don't know if it's happening.
I don't think you or I or anyone's going and saying, "Oh my gosh, it's all false and they're crazies." We're just skeptical. We have to have that discernment that God gave us, to say, I don't know if that's all true. But if what they say is, I'd be the first to applaud them too.
Well, you got so much going on. And what do you think about that earthquake? The Q people are saying that earthquake and P. Diddy, those are them blowing up the dumps between New York and New Jersey.
The DUMBs?
The DUMBs, yeah, the deep underground military things. And I will say this, the other thing that Q's got, when they shut down D.C. for at 6 months, and they put fencing around, nobody could come in or out.
Yep.
That was never explained. And what I don't understand this, and I'll throw a bone to the Q people, why was there no live reporting? This is Busey from inside, right outside the fence. They didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. The only news
you mean right after January 6th?
Right. The main reporting we got were from folks walking around with their cell phones showing the guards, showing things.
Yeah.
The buses coming in the middle of the night with the lawyers, but the mainstream media wouldn't touch it.
That's a good point. That is bizarre.
Well, I'm the guy, when everyone looks over here, I look over here. I want to know why they're distracting me. Because I think January 6th could possibly be something that they've ingrained in your minds, but that they're not going to bring the truth about January 6th. If they ever release all the tapes.
Yeah, when is that going to happen?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Q people said it's going to happen in 10 days of darkness, and that's why they think this eclipse is starting it. that there'll be these videos of those that have been executed at Gitmo, et cetera, and all that. And that one of the things too they're going to show is what happened in the trials and in the tribunals that were held in supposedly D.C. and at Gitmo. But the thing that's freaky too is the Capitol Police guy was asked, he was fired, the day after, and he was on Tucker Carlson. And if you listen to him, he's pretty pissed that the January 6th committee would not hear him, did not want to interview him. And so,
and why is that?
What you would think they would want to know that he was boots on the ground.
Exactly.
And so
I'm just thinking they just don't want to. They don't want the truth to come out.
And then they just sentenced that grandmother.
Oh my gosh, did they?
Yeah, she's going to do some time. And her crime, she walked through the Capitol, and that's the people's house. But when you have Ray Epps and people on the FBI payroll waving you in, wearing a Trump hat and Trump paraphernalia, I still don't see why the feds don't see that as entrapment.
Yeah, I know. I was writing, I was there, and on my plane ride home, I had a young man sit next to me. He goes, yeah, they opened up the barricade and waved us in.
So you were at January 6th?
Yes.
I was going, but Judy talked me out of going. She said, I got a bad feeling about this. And I said, well, okay, I won't go. But I was going to go because I was so ticked. I was just sure that the election was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, what? And here's the other thing. How come Marsha Blackburn, Ted Cruz, all these politicians were demanding a recount, and then they had the pipe bomb, which has been proven now to be a hoax. They actually found those the night before and found out they were a hoax, but they used them as the excuse to take the Senate and the Congress to secret rooms, and whatever was shared with them, they came back mute. You remember?
Oh, yeah. I think I remember you and I talking about that before.
So you got, and I love Marsha Blackburn, but I'd love to ask her, what silenced you? Prior to the exit, you were, and Ted Cruz, you guys were demanding a revote or some kind of investigation. You guys come back and it's El Muto. And they just accepted the results and moved on.
Right.
And you go, So they all got a bad case of muteness, and then you had 6 months. DC was shut down, and no media, no plane. I mean, they did more coverage of O.J. Simpson. They followed him in the Bronco. You remember? You mean
it's a good point though that there's just no
helicopter available. I mean, where all the media's helicopters too busy to fly over there and say, hey, they're shutting down DC, and you couldn't get in or out without an ID. Wow. I just want to know why. If Q is wrong,
we barely got on our flight home the next day. Everything was shut down. They weren't even allowing Ubers to come to the hotel. I don't know how we got out.
What's my point? If I'm just saying that's where some Q people have some points. I see why they're still hanging on with some hope. Because you got some things that have never been quite explained well.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy, I put it all on the table. I just want to have an honest discussion about it. And
I never thought about, no live reporting from the barricades by the White House afterwards.
No, the little bit you got, it was just a quick snafu, painting the narrative of bad January 6ers, bad, and then you find out later, that Donald Trump was late getting on the platform. And if you were there, you probably knew that. He was 45 minutes behind time. When he finally got up to speak, they said the Blacks for Trump, his testimony, he was there. He said bombs were going off. They were already attacking the Capitol before Trump even finished speaking.
I heard that, yeah.
And those were people, because if you go back and look at some of the footage, you had Black Lives Matter and Antifa. You had buses pulling up into D.C., up to the Capitol.
Yeah.
And now they're proving, Chip Roy and some of the other in Senate, there's been over 200 federal undercovers, and that's one reason they don't want supposedly the tapes out, because it will blow the cover of some of these federal agents that were in the crowd instigating.
Yeah. And then we were all hopeful about Johnson releasing the rest of those, right?
Well, exactly. Johnson, you know, like Marjorie Taylor Greene said on Tucker the other night, there's a chance he's been blackmailed.
Yeah, he's been compromised.
I mean, think about it. You're up there in D.C. If they want to, they can drug you. You wake up and you might have a bunch of naked kids or naked lady next to you, next to pictures and video, and they say, "Hey, Mikey, do what we say, or this gets released." I'm just saying it could happen.
Yeah.
I think that's one reason Donald Trump would not social drink.
He wouldn't what?
You know, Donald Trump's not a social drinker. And I want you to think about it. Donald Trump's from New York. He's a New Yorker.
Uh-huh.
And when he's not a social drinker, but he lived among the Democrats. He was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And think of all the sex scandals. I call it the sex mafia in New York. That Lanier and Nexium and Allison Mack, when they went down, then all of a sudden they rolled over on Epstein. Epstein rolled over on Weinstein. Weinstein rolled over on rapper Kelly. And you just kept on going. And you start seeing all these sexual perversions in the city of New York getting shut down. And you got to ask yourself, for Trump, because he knew these things. He ran with the circles.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they were trying to portray him. Or remember when they released that tape about him saying something kind of inappropriate, but it was in private. He didn't know the mic was on.
Right.
About a lady's private part. I think they were
trying. Yeah, they still bring that up.
Yeah, I think they want them to think Trump was just as bad as they are. And it's not even close. But the other thing I brought up on my show is the Anthony Weiner laptop. It's worse than Hunter's laptop. And,
oh, really?
And those 10 police officers that committed suicide. You remember that?
No.
10 police officers that looked at the Anthony Weiner laptop. Veteran police officers supposedly suicided themselves.
10?
10 police officers.
Whoa.
In New York. And this is prior to Trump.
That.
So before Trump became president, here's a couple of things just keep in mind. In 1999, Y2K, by the way, why did Hillary Clinton want to be the governor of New York? I mean, not governor, a senator of New York. And why not Arkansas? That's where her husband was governor, and that's where they were supposed to be from.
Uh-huh.
Why New York? Right? And so, and then Kennedy's play goes down very conveniently at the time she's running, and you can say that's nefarious or not. She comes in 99. Her code name is Evergreen.
Oh, yeah.
And Evergreen's the largest shipping company, and many feel it's the largest sex trafficking, of getting kids around the globe. So you've got Evergreen, and Hillary Clinton's code name is Evergreen because she's the first lady. You know, that was her password. So she comes to New York in 99, becomes a senator, and her assistant, you remember Huma Abedin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Huma Abedin's husband.
That's Weiner's wife, or was, right?
Yeah, Anthony Weiner's wife. And so when he got busted in his laptop, it had those pictures that are on the dark web of Anthony Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton having sex with children. And there was,
is that what it is?
And there was something they did to a child, a young girl, that made those 10 seasoned police officers literally throw up. And supposedly all 10 committed the Hillary Killery suicide. Anyone that gets to know in Hillary Killery commits suicide.
Wow.
Have you ever heard?
I did not know that.
Have you ever heard the book Tex Marr's Big Sister's Watching You?
No.
You ought to get it. I've read it. It covers the governorship and the first term of the Clintons, and it lists all the people that died.
I saw like an article or something floating around on social media a long time ago with all the photos of the people that have died.
Yeah, and so you bring that in, and all of a sudden, here's Hillary, and the police actually made a statement that if the FBI does not investigate, they were going to investigate. And they did a little news conference, some of these officers. And next thing they know, they're sucking lead, you know.
Wow.
Why? So then Donald Trump becomes president. And remember, he got the thing, lock her up, very famous. And why he didn't lock her up, I don't know. But the long and short is, I think he knows how wicked she and some of these people are. And now P. Diddy getting arrested and all the sexual perversions of him.
Is he actually arrested or did he escape?
No, you're right. Not arrested. He's been raided. He's had 2 homes raided. The one in New York and one down in Florida. Was it Miami?
Because it's like, where is he?
Yeah, well, don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm circling all back around to the 8th. We just had an earthquake where the Qers are saying, hey, that was the Dumbs blowing up. They're cleaning up Dodge.
That's what they're saying. Okay.
I can see how, if you walk down memory lane, why they think this is all going to crescendo to a point where Trump comes out and says, I told you, you know. But I just don't know. But I will tell you this. Let's throw a monkey wrench in all this. RFK is climbing the polls. Kennedy?
Really?
He is. He's did you hear the Fox News did a poll? He had a poll 4 days ago that he was more favorable than Trump.
Oh, come on.
No, and likability. Not that they'd vote for him. Like he was at 47%, Trump's at 46%, and Biden was something.
Do you think it's because of who he announced as his vice president pick?
Well, on CNN, he went off on Joe Biden because they said the host, I think she was shocked. I played it on my show. You ought to go Google it. Do you think Donald Trump is a detriment? And he said, no, I think the worst, the bigger problem, the bad for the country would be Biden. He goes, we've never had a president turn on political opponents like he's done on me and Trump. And he kind of defended Trump. And you're going, wow. So I think what's going to happen, I think he's going to completely destroy Biden I think if unless things change, him running as an independent, starting his own party, We the People. And I could see him by 2028. I think Trump will win. I could see Kenny though gaining ground. He'll be a viable person in 2028.
Interesting.
I think
he might be for the more moderate Democrats, I would say.
Well, I mean, if say Trump got hit by a bus tomorrow, and your choice was Kennedy or Biden, I think MAGA would move to Kennedy. It's the lesser of the 2 liberal evils, but the good thing, Kennedy's against big pharma, and he's against big government. He wants controlled spending, and he kind of comes across as a nationalist. I don't think he's as a globalist like Biden and them are.
Right.
So
and his organization, Children's Health Defense, has done wonders for medical freedom and for harmful vaccinations with children. I mean, he does have a really good nonprofit that has helped a lot of families.
Well, see, and he picked that girl from her husband that she's divorced from was the co-founder of Google. I mean, that was I mean, she paid $4 million for his Super Bowl ad. I don't know if you knew that.
She also believes in defunding the police too, right?
Oh yeah, she's far left. But he had to have money because the Democrats aren't giving him money, and they're not giving him any Secret Service protection. So he needs money probably to pay for, because I mean, you got it. This is what I don't understand about the Democrats. They're like royalty, in political world. From JFK and Robert F. and Ted Kennedy, they had 3 famous, people in politics, and the one that died, a war hero, the brother. You would think they would try to find some way to at least give him some protection,
right?
Even if they don't want, but I guess that would be their way of affirming him. They don't want the debates. They don't want him. They wouldn't let him run in the Democratic. They wouldn't let him primary Biden. So,
wow.
Well, did you have any topics you want to talk about? Anything? I've taken you on my little goose chases it's Friday. I just thought I'd talk with you about a lot of stuff there. But what's going on in your world?
Well, another ominous thing that I saw, I had sent you the link, is that the other night, before the earthquake, I guess the Statue of Liberty got struck by lightning, and it's an incredible picture I sent to you.
Wow, I didn't know that. Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Sometimes we send so much stuff, me, you, and Jolene and the gang.
I know.
And I get some others. My daughter sends me a lot of stuff, and then I get stuff from so many sources. But wow, interesting.
Yeah, it's, I think, let's see, it happened, what was it, yesterday? Lightning strikes Statue of Liberty during yesterday's crazy storm. I guess there was a bad storm there. And it's this guy, you won't believe how incredible this photo is. And it just the bolt is hitting the torch in the statue.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible.
So, what'd you think about James Carville admitting that the Democrats are losing with ethnicity this time around, especially with male ethnicity, Black and Hispanic primarily?
Well, we do see a lot on social media. You have the Latinos for Trump, and, you've seen them, the Blacks for Trump being more vocal too in support of him. It doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me, but I'm just like, oh wow. I think, and again, I'm just thinking out loud. Of course, you have to wait till after the eclipse and see if anything happens that's going to change the narrative.
Right.
But for instance, look how quick the news changed, Maria, when you had Trump. They thought they were going to get his property, and Lolita James was tweeting out his interest daily, and they were just going. Next thing you know, he wins an appeal case. It drops to a third, and gets an extension. He goes public on Truth Social. He doubles his wealth from $3 billion to over $6 billion. Next thing you know, boats start hitting bridges.
Oh.
You ever thought of that?
Oh, that happened after the fact.
It changed the narrative of the media.
Wow. Because
they thought they were going to padlock Trump Tower. And when they realized they lost the Trump Tower, they lost the media power. That they had to change. So next thing you know, 3 boats, I guess there's 3 boats now that hit bridges.
Yeah.
And the big one, of course, in Baltimore.
Right.
Don't you find that the timing a little suspicious?
I didn't connect those. I thought, at least, my husband thought the retaliation for that shooting that happened in Russia, he thought the barge hitting the bridge was retaliation because how Putin was accusing us of that, remember?
Well, I know, but I'm just saying they had to change because Trump was looking like a victor. He had not just he beat Lolita James in the appeals court. He went, right. Because they knew he only had at that time in the bank, right at $500 million. And if that judgment was 400 and some million, that was going to cripple him. If he hadn't won in the appeals court, his campaign was done. Unless he got a lot of money raised.
How can that not tell you that the hand of God is on him? Because, the next day or whatever, like overnight, he makes billions with Truth Social going public. And it's just like, I just feel like he's been protected, and I keep praying for that.
Well, when he was president, he gave his salary. He wouldn't take the salary.
Right.
And with all the boycotts and lawsuits, when he went in as president, he was worth between $3 to $4 billion. When he left office, he was down to 2.5. He had lost a lot of money, and he would get close to 3, but he was between 2.5 and 3 there for a while. And as he announced running for president, a lot of folks thought, man, you're running and you've lost all this wealth. And it's like, I don't know. The guy's the art of the deal, and then he shows up. Now he's worth $6.5 billion. I mean, he's doubled what he was.
Love it.
And I think it's God's favor. I'm with you, but I think it's also
exactly.
He's just a smart dude. He's a smart dude. I'm not saying he's perfect, but
extremely smart.
Well, tell Mark the car show we've got coming up again. We need to bring that Jag.
Oh yeah.
And have you guys been on a date yet in the Jag in a while?
No, we had some issues, and he figured out it was the battery, so we haven't been able to take any long cruises. But now that that's fixed, I'm hoping we can.
It's getting that pretty weather now to do those things, isn't it?
What's that?
It's getting that kind of weather where you want to kind of take a cruise or go do. Judy likes the Harley when it's a beautiful day. We'll get on the Harley and take a ride up to Blue Ridge, Georgia, or somewhere, And,
nice, yeah.
Nice long ride.
That's the beauty of living here is just no matter where you go, there's always a gorgeous road trip you can go on.
Oh, absolutely. Well, hey, Maria, thanks for calling in the show. And now that we got the phone all installed, tell your friends, and we'll see what happens. But we'll be scheduled back on Wednesdays. And
awesome.
We don't have the in studio set up yet, but we hope to have that soon. But it's this studio's been a slow, but it's been a sweet build by Street Level America, and I want to give a pastor salute again to Dave and those on that team, and I appreciate them very much.
I appreciate them too. I think they're wonderful, and I just think this is just a great path you're on, and congratulations on all of that, and God bless the Patriot Pastor Show.
Well, thank you so much, Maria, and again, tell Mark I said howdy, okay?
Okay, I will. Thank you.
That's Maria Wagner with Moms for America, and we appreciate her coming on the show. And now that we got the new boards and stuff, it's looking good. And of course, I have to learn how to operate these things. I'm as a committee of one doing this, but I love it. Got a couple of breaks here, news things before we go for the day. One is this is Carville, as you guys may remember. He is the former political strategist for Kennedy, and he's the one that came up with the statement, "It's the economy, stupid." He is now concerned that the Democrats are losing ground. See what you think.
We're not shedding them. They're leaving in the drove.
Another Democrat strategist, James Carville, who I sat next to on the real-time panel with Bill Maher, and he had never heard that very fine people on both sides was a complete hoax. But he's even understanding that the Dems, they're losing the young blacks and the young Latinos.
I've been very vocal about this. It's horrifying. Our numbers among younger voters, particularly younger blacks, younger Latinos, or whatever, but whatever younger people of color, particularly males. We're not shedding them. They're leaving in the droves. Leaving in the droves. They're leaving in the droves.
So Jim Carville, Biden can't replicate 2020 coalition. The non-white male detachment is a significant problem. That's on Fox News. So it's going to be interesting to see. But a New York Times Siena College poll released March showed Trump ahead of Biden among Hispanic voters, 46 to 40%. And the survey also found Trump has support from 23% of black voters. That's huge. So you remember Biden famously said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. But there's a lot of music and stuff online that's being done to support Donald Trump. Here's a group called the Trump Latinos, and see what you think of this new song.
From the land of the free and the brave, USA. I love my country, they can't take that away. Against all odds, he made fortune and fame. Us patriots won't let you lock him away. Trump say the USA. Trump say the USA. Trump
and goes on. There's a lot of stuff. If you go to YouTube and type in Trump Latinos, now their earlier videos, they did drop a few wordy words, I would say, but they've cleaned up that because they realized the younger voters and the younger listeners that they're getting. But there's also a group called Black for Trump. There's just a lot of the younger people that they're loving their country and they're standing up in big ways for America, and they're using their platform of music and talents, and they're pretty much believing that Donald Trump is the guy for them and their culture. And so that's what's interesting. But for Jim Carville to say that, I thought was pretty huge, and he's got to be one of the guys that everyone looks at and and says, hey, now if he's going to say it, I think we've all got to understand it. Hey, that means that means something. So we're about ready to get out of here, and another song I think a lot of you guys like. This one right here, God's Land. See what you think.
Cause he's coming.
It's the mayor of Megaville, Hadass, Trump Latinos. Let's take them to church. Here we go.
This is God's land, we gonna keep it. You don't like it, you can leave it. This is God's land, we gonna keep it. You don't like it, you can leave it. This is God's land. This is God's land. Tell me how we get so low. Down a rabbit hole. Deep in the middle of the night. Down the darkened road. Underneath the sky. Neon moonlight. You don't want to unite. And you don't ever try. Gotta close the border, put America first. Gonna keep our guns, gonna take it to church. Step to the left, beside you the right. Ride the red wave, that way hold on tight. We're gonna get this party started right. So don't sit down where I will Joe.
Do-si-do, yeah, we done with Joe. We need 4 more years of that American hope. You know Donald Trump's the greatest, America's favorite. Us hard-working patriots are running out of our patience. Gonna slide to the right, now you in Macaville. You hate this country so bad, then get up out of here. They're trying to rig the vote, we gotta stop the steal. Democrats turn God's land into a battlefield.
Democrats turn God's land to a battlefield.
Red clay dripping on the stars on my boots. Same old rusty truck, blame it on my southern roots. We gon' set it off like a California sunset. Going down a rabbit hole until they bring Trump back.
This is God's land, we gonna keep it. You don't like it, you can leave it. This is God's land, we gonna keep it. You don't like it, you can leave it. This is God's land. This is God's land. Tell me how we get so low. Down a rabbit hole. Deep in the middle of the night. Down the darkened road. Underneath the sky. Neon moonlight.
So that is God's Land. You can go check that out. There's so many of them out there. They do such a great job, and congratulations on the new ones that are coming out. I'm loving it because I am a older American, if you will, 58 years old, and saying, hey, it's good to see these young people knowing what this country's about. Here's a new one that drops. See what you think. Hang on just a sec. $19.90.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think your viewers would be very interested in it, nor do I want to embarrass you.
I don't think I would be, but let's talk about what we talked about yesterday. Those in the financial community I'm talking about, and we talked about this on the phone, who have said, and this is them saying it, not me.
This is them? What do you mean by them? This is 1 or 2 people, and what about the positive people?
The ones who said negative things, and
here we are.
Well, we've got to
back to the negative.
Back to the negative.
You know what? Do this interview with somebody else.
So we talked about this yesterday on the phone. This is exactly
do the interview with somebody else.
You don't need this.
Wait. Do it with somebody. I'll have a good time.
Because frankly, you're a very negative guy, and I think it's very unfair reporting. Good luck.
Donald Trump walking away from George Stephanopoulos in 1990 saying, "You're a negative guy." And that's what Trump's known for, honest. He's saying, "Hey, I don't like when you guys don't tell the truth, don't say things that you know to be true." And that's what our media has become. It's become a propaganda wheel. And I think a lot of folks have that respect for Donald Trump for that very reason, because you don't want to put up with, things that just aren't true. And what happens, it gets folks divided into thinking things are true. And this is about Biden. I don't know if you guys remember, I played this a minute ago. This is Biden himself.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
So that's your president, Biden, saying this back when he was a senator in 1995.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
Well, what recently has he done? Well, he just recently said he's not going to restore the strategic oil reserve. How it started. U.S. emergency oil supply shrinks 40-year low as Biden keeps tapping reserve.
Today, I'm announcing a plan to refill the strategic petroleum oil reserve in the years ahead at a profit for taxpayers. The United States government is going to purchase oil to refill the strategic petroleum reserve.
How's it going?
Oh my God!
Biden admin latest attempt to refill oil reserves due to high prices. He abandons it.
Oh my God! You fucking.
Joe Biden once again lets us down, and again lives up to this statement of 1995.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
Yes, you have. And yes, you will, sadly. Well, this is the Maisel Duncan Show. Thanks for listening. 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day here from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Don't forget my new book, Move Your Mountains. If you're looking for a good read, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith. I talk about some things such as how to handle anger, 12-hour anger limit, how to handle